Hey guys and gals, I've decided to make another VR racing video. One of the things I really enjoy about simulation and VR is that I get to feel what it's like to drive cars that I'll never be able to drive in real life. Today, we're taking some laps of Laguna Seca in the McLaren M8C. This car was originally designed by Bruce McLaren to compete in the Can-Am Racing Series back in the late 60s. It features a big block Chevrolet engine making about 615 horsepower backed by a 4-speed manual transmission. One of the more unique features of this car is the unequal length intake trumpets, but they are in fact the same length. The cylinder heads simply have an unusual port design, giving the appearance of unevenness. As we get ready to take this out on track, I'd like to leave you with two thoughts. First of all, the whole car only weighs around 1,400 pounds, so this thing is absolutely bonkers. Additionally, Bruce McLaren himself died in a crash while developing this car. But, as he once said, to do something well is so worthwhile that to die trying to do it better cannot be foolhardy. It would be a waste of life to do nothing with one's ability, for I feel that life is measured in achievement, not in years alone. Alright, so we're starting on the main straight here. As you can see, we're on lap 17. It took me quite a few practice laps to be able to get this around the track in a decent amount of time. Braking into this first corner is very difficult. You have to get the timing just right in order to get the apex of this second corner. As we accelerate into turn 3, I have to do a lot of modulation of the throttle to keep the car from spinning around. For those of you that are rather familiar with racing, you can probably see that a lot of the steering in this car is not done with the wheel itself, it's done with the pedals. For those of you that are less familiar, you'll notice as I go into a corner, I maintain some braking pressure as I'm turning that steering wheel. And the purpose of that is to load up the front tires and let the car rotate into the corner a little bit. Coming out of the corners, you really have to roll onto the power. Full throttle wants to push you out to the outside of the circuit, and it can send you into the gravel pretty easily. Since this car likes to turn with the brake and the accelerator so much compared to the steering wheel, to get it around the last corner there, you really have to slide it. It'll understeer and go straight. And in fact, I think on the next lap I make a mistake and I don't quite get the rear end kicked out, and it'll push through, but we'll see. In VR, it really gives you a sense of how much this car wants to rotate on throttle. You can feel the rear end slipping out. Now, as I said before, it's only a 1,400 pound car, so with the absurd amount of power that this thing has, it's no surprise that it wants to rotate like that. And you have to bear in mind, this is on 1970s tires. You know, it's not like what we have today, the really sticky stuff. It wasn't there. A little bit of lockup coming into the chicane there. No ABS, no traction control on this car of any kind, so lockup is going to happen when you're in a hard braking zone unless you're a pro driver, which I am not. Alright, so let's see if I push here. Yeah, see how it pushes wide like that? So how I remedy that situation and get it around the corner, since this car has no handbrake, I can't rotate it that way. And what I have to do is I have to, on my downshift, instead of heel towing, I just let the engine stay at a relatively low RPM. And when I let out the clutch, that kind of locks the rear wheels a little bit and lets it rotate around. That was a good example of power slide there. I was talking about how when you hit the gas, it wants to rotate the car. This corner's really deceptive. You know that big caterpillar on the left there? You'd think that would be your apex, and more often than not it is, but for that, you really have to aim late, especially in this car, with its tendency to understeer on braking and oversteer on power. It's just super easy to get launched to the outside of the corner. This being a 427 big block, or 7 liter if you will, it has plenty of low down torque. So I tend to like to keep it in gear rather than go down a gear if I can help it. Especially because it wants to spin the tires like you wouldn't believe. That was probably the best I've taken that corner, that last corner there. Now you can see on the tack there, the red line is about 7,000 RPM. When you're at 7,000 RPM in 4th gear, this car is doing 175 miles an hour, which in a 1,400 pound box is just absolutely insane. You can let it rev out a little bit further than that, but you risk damaging the engine there. So in any case, I think that was my last lap there, and I'm just kind of bringing it in and cooling down. So that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.